James Brown, thanks very much for your time. This whole debate right now, why don't we just start with, I suppose, the key area here, and that is the debate around exactly what's going to happen, the wishes of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course, and the reaction from Donald Trump. Let's begin with that first of all.
Yeah, look, this is just shifting the focus of the election campaign now, and in ways that will benefit President Trump. The Democrats are trying to make this a referendum on President Trump. It now becomes a referendum on what the flavour of the court will be, whether Trump will be able to achieve a 6-3 Conservative majority on the court. That plays to his strengths. He's had a strong record of appointing judges to the Supreme Court and also appointing judges to other levels of federal court as well. It's something that he campaigned on last time and has delivered. So this is a positive benefit to him. Of course, it will raise the stakes for the Democrats as well. Joe Biden has promised that he will appoint a black woman to the court if he's successful in being elected in November.
So this is the really interesting point. To what extent the Democrats fight it, clearly that's going to be a great extent, and then how much they continued all the way to the election. I want to play what Joe Biden had in terms of an urging towards Republican senators.
I'm not speaking to President Trump, who'll do whatever he wants. I'm not speaking to Mitch McConnell, who'll do what he wants, and he does. I'm speaking to those Republicans out there, Senate Republicans, who know deep down what is right for the country and consistent with the Constitution. In a raw political move, this president and the Republican leader have decided to jam a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court through the United States Senate. That's the last thing we need at this moment.
So that's the urging. I guess the question here, and you've even got Nancy Pelosi talking about impeachment to avoid this going ahead. Is this a case of fight this all the way to the end, even if Donald Trump gets his way, or is there a pivot to say, if you make this election, James, all about this nomination, you're playing on Donald Trump's territory?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think Nancy Pelosi talking about possibly trying to impeach the president again is dangerous. There's no way they could get that process through before the election, given that Mitch McConnell would control the timing of it. The Democrats also talking about packing the court, something we haven't seen mooted since the 1930s. That, again, shows that they're prepared to change these institutions to suit their agenda, plays into President Trump's argument. Their best hope is that they have a number of Republican senators that refuse the confirmation. There's a roll call of Republican senators, 17 in all, who are on record from the Merrick Garland incident talking about why you shouldn't rush these through before an election. Then it was 6 months out. Now we're only a couple of months out. I don't think that will matter to those Republicans. You might get a few like Mitt Romney and others that refuse the confirmation, but Republicans are already talking about the situation where they can see the Vice President coming in and casting his vote, his casting vote, to get it across the line. So they're confident that even if they lose a few senators, they'll still be able to get this confirmation through before November 3rd.
Yeah, and not worrying too much apparently about, as I mentioned, the wishes of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Here's how that played out.
She said, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced by until a new president is installed." We believe that.
It just sounds to me like it would be somebody else. I don't believe it could be, and it might not be too. It was just too convenient.
So interesting, Donald Trump there, not too worried about, casting down on that. Anyway, we'll see how it plays out. I want to delve into a bit of polling before we go, though. Real Clear Politics. This is the key polling we keep looking at. The key states where Donald Trump surprised, if you like, last time, and what's happened since. I know we've spoken about reliability, so maybe margin's key here. When you look at a margin of 1.6% for Biden in the biggest, the most important one there, 29 electoral votes up for grabs in Florida, maybe not too significant, but Wisconsin, 6.7%. I mean, these numbers would be worrying for the Trump campaign, do you think?
Look, they are, and it's clear that the Trump campaign has got some way to go in terms of their ground game, getting out the vote in some of those states. Florida, I think you're right, that is the closest. That is going to be the most interesting one to watch. But Pennsylvania is an interesting one. I mean, 20 electoral votes there, and we saw a big turnout for the Democrats a couple of years ago in the midterm elections, but also in a series of city council elections around some of the big cities in Pennsylvania. Quite big swings away from Trump, particularly amongst white voters, both college-educated and non-college educated.
This is the interesting thing that you've just mentioned there. So as much as we're talking about, what happened last time, this would be crucial. If Donald Trump's support flags, not just with white voters, but non-college educated, that path gets really difficult, doesn't it? I mean, I know he's seen to have made some small inroads for Latino voters, for black voters as well, but this has got to be his core still to have a path to return to the White House.
Yeah, and there's some analysis this week that shows a consistent trend of him slipping in his support amongst non-college educated white voters. White women particularly have been declining for President Trump. Why that's happening, there are different views on that. One of that is just the level of instability and volatility around the president. A sense that he was elected to create disruption and to repair a lot of damage to US institutions that have become captured by minority interests. But instead, he's just caused more division and hasn't lived up to the promises that he made. People just getting a bit sick of all the drama, really. And we've seen that come up in focus groups in suburban white voters, particularly in states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. So that's one to really watch. He's got to keep control of that group. He's got to hold his numbers there. Joe Biden, of course, is more relatable to that group than Hillary Clinton was. And in his campaign launch, a lot of the set-piece engagements were around targeting that group, showing that he's not an elite, he is relatable, he is a working-class blue dog Democrat.